Is Wellness Week 105. It's Thursday, and today I'm the high noon presentation. You know, this is a spot that was always occupied by Dr. James Weiner. He took high noon every day of the Wellness Week. And of course, the December Wellness Week, we always are honoring Dr. James Weiner. 6 years since he passed. And we're carrying it on for him. We're trying to keep the spirit moving, the education moving, and even the fun moving. So we're here. It's our holiday version of the Wellness Week, our favorite one, my favorite Wellness Week of the whole year, just because of the holiday season and the great energy and everything that's going on. And you know, we decided that today. By the way, I'm Joe Messino. In case you don't know, but who wouldn't know, right, Phil? Anyhow, today, you know, wellness holiday season. What do you think is the one topic other than stress that's going to affect more people during the holiday season? It's gut health, right? We're going to eat a little bit more. We're going to drink a little bit more. We're going to indulge a little bit more. So, you know, we came up with this term, the ABCs of gut health. And you could actually take it to ABCD if you want. And I think this was Mike Gallagher, Mikey G, that came up with the ABCs. And that would be A, acid reflux, B, bloating, C, constipation, and if you want to go to D, diarrhea. You know, I'm old enough, Phil, to remember Johnny Carson on The Tonight Show. And he did this comedy bit one time because, you know, there was all these commercials about diarrhea, and someone would come on real serious and they'd go, I want to talk to you about diarrhea. And so Carson did this bit where he did that exact same thing, and they hit him with like 3 cream pies when he said diarrhea. It was funny. Anyhow, the ABCs of gut health. Now, you know, these are the things that are the result. These are the symptoms. These are the results of what you're doing to your gut. Okay, you shouldn't have any of these. You shouldn't have acid reflux, bloating, constipation, or diarrhea if your gut is in good working order and you're keeping it that way. So let's address this. You know, we have a baseline gut protocol that we've worked on for years now, and it comes in 3 parts. And it's very important that you do this protocol in the order that we describe it. Because the first thing you have to do is heal the gut. Heal, and when we're talking about healing the gut, I mean repairing is the first stage. There's a mucosa, there's a lining that starts in your esophagus and goes all the way down through your anus. It's the entire digestive system. And it's covered in this mucosa, this lining. Well, what happens by eating the standard American diet, by taking drugs, legal ones even, okay, by eating these manufactured foods and everything you could possibly put in your mouth that's not healthy, it causes deterioration of this mucosa. So the first thing we have to do is heal that. We'll get into that detail. The next thing we have to do is replenish. And by that I mean probiotics. Why? There's an antibiotic onslaught going on in this country. There has been for years. It starts with the overuse of antibiotics and in the foods and everything else that's going on. That's number 2. We've got to replenish those probiotics. And then number 3, I call it assimilate, because we have to help get the nutrients from your food into your body. And basically, this is the secret weapon. There's something that we're so deficient in. I'm going to tell you a few of the ways that we cause this deficiency and then how to fix it so that you can, and you know, everybody used to say you are what you eat. Well, no, that's not true. You are what you absorb and what you assimilate into your cells. So those are the 3 stages of gut health that we use. But before we get into that, let's look at the cause of the problem. Let's address the source of the problem, and that's the food or food products that are disguised as food that we're consuming on a regular basis. Dr. Tracy Straub, we do a lot of things together, her and I, and she's come up with some great one-liners, and I've stolen hers, and she's stolen mine, and it's all good. But she came up with the OTE diet. There's hundreds of them out there, right? I mean, somebody did a count actually once of how many diets are actually out there, and it was over 100. I mean, how can that be? But this is the only one you should follow. Remember this, OTE. You know what that stands for? Of the earth. And that's what Tracy says. If it grows, if it flies, if it runs, if it swims, it's of the earth. It's okay to eat. If it promoted life, it'll promote life in us. Now, here's the problem. Most people consume more food products than they do food. These are things that are in the center of the supermarkets. Anything in a box, bag, can, bottle. Usually it's not directly of the earth. Okay? All your meats, all your seafood, all your produce is of the earth. And you know what they've started to do? And this kind of really gets me mad. It pisses me off, actually. Okay, and that is they started packaging vegetables in plastic. Why? Yes. And how about bell peppers, and they're even calling them organic, but they're putting them in a plastic bag. But then they tell you don't use plastic bags or plastic straws, but we're going to put your vegetables in plastic. Makes no sense. Anyway, this is a great quote from an old friend of mine. Jem Welsh was a certified clinical nutritionist, and he said, "A plastic wrapper is like a coffin for a dead food." Wow. Think of how many things that you eat that are in a wrapper. How many? I mean, it's incredible. Okay, now sometimes, if you go and you get to the butcher and you want to get your meat, sometimes they'll wrap it in plastic, but if you get a good butcher, they'll wrap it in paper. Plastic wrappers, like a coffin for a dead food. And unfortunately, a lot of things they try to disguise as something healthy and they put it in a wrapper. And here's another great quote from Dr. Tracy. Count chemicals, not calories. We've been following this for a long time. Why? Because chemicals are probably the number one cause of the deterioration of the mucosa, that lining of the digestive tract. Number one cause is chemicals that we ingest. So you've got to read your labels. You've got to read your labels and look. If there's something in there that's not a food, don't eat it. Years ago, I did a workshop called The Four Horsemen of the Nutrition Apocalypse. And the four horsemen were hydrogenated fats and oils, high fructose corn syrup, white death, which is refined flours and sugars, and sodas. Those were my four horsemen. And the chemicals that are involved in so many of these foods are destroying your ability to process and assimilate nutrients. Now, some of these, they disguise as a food. I mean, one of my favorites of all time, and I say this in a bad way, but one of my favorites of all time, something that they tried to disguise as a healthy option, is canola oil. Now, you can look, and if you see the term high fruct or hydrogenated oil, that's bad, right? By now you should know that. That is an oil that has been adulterated, that has been processed, that has been, and when you hydrogenate something, you take the life out of it. It's one of the worst things you can cook with. It's one of the worst things you can use as a preservative. But everything has them in them. They all have hydrogenated oils. Now, canola oil is promoted as a healthy oil, but it's not. First of all, here's my $1 million question. Phil, have you ever seen a canola? Well, you haven't seen a canola because it doesn't exist in nature. Canola stands for Canadian Oil Company. But what does canola oil come from? It comes from something called the rape seed plant. Does that sound appetizing to you? It's not. Because in nature, it's poisonous until it's refined. So you're taking something that's poisonous, you're refining it, you're changing it, you're adulterating it, and you're making it into something that people can consume. Now, it's not going to kill them immediately, but eventually it will. If you use it all the time. Canola oil is one of the biggest complete farce that I've seen in this industry. High fructose corn syrup used to be the biggest, okay? Because they tried to come off as that being all natural. Well, it's not. It's made in a vat with chemicals and toxins, so it cannot be natural. So these are the culprits, folks. These are the things that you should not be consuming. Okay, we're going to get into a little more detail on that. By the way, Cheerios, they're not grown on a tree, so it's not natural. Okay, the cereal aisle in our supermarkets is probably one of the biggest crimes against food that I have ever seen. I mean, there are rows, multiple 6, 7, 8 rows of cereals. All colors, all shapes, all sizes, every flavor, but every one of them is bad. Every one of them is bad. There's a book called Serial Killer. And it isn't spelled S-E-R, cereal. It's spelled C-E-R-E-A-L. Okay, if you want to get your eyes opened, grab that book. Okay, so what are we going to do? Well, we got a few more problems with the food supply. And here it is. Here's the daily life of most people in this country. Processed, preserved, prepared foods that they don't prepare themselves. This is one of the biggest culprits. Okay, because if it's processed, there's chemicals involved and it's taken out of nature. If it's preserved, there's chemicals involved and it's not of nature. If it's prepared, more than likely it's prepared in one of those bad oils, like a hydrogenated soybean oil, a hydrogenated canola oil, any seed oil. What's the bottom line on oils, by the way? It's simple, but it's not easy. The bottom line is, if you can eat it as a food, you can eat it as an oil. You can eat an olive, and they press it into an oil. They do not refine it. There's no chemicals involved. You can eat an avocado, and they can press it into an oil without refining or chemicals. 2 top oils right there, avocado and olive. Now, why are they the 2 top? Well, olive oil is one of the most nutritious oils there is. If it's real olive oil, you got to watch that as well. But olive oil should be used primarily with very low heat and basically cold. If you need to cook on a higher heat and for a longer period of time, then you want avocado oil. It has a higher burn point. And I'd say my number 3 right behind those 2 would be coconut oil. Those are the only choices you should make when it comes to cooking oils. Coconut, again, just like you can eat it, you can use it as an oil. Those are your top 3. But everything else is a poison. And everything they prepare these foods in. I'll bet, how many times do you talk to the restaurants? You can go there. I used to go to a breakfast place once, and I used to get grits until I found out they microwaved them. I thought, you're killing me, man. Okay, so you've got to ask questions in restaurants. How is it prepared? Are they using oils? Are they using hydrogenated? Are they using margarine? What are they using? GMO food crops. Here's the big problem right here. So how many of you know the top 3 genetically modified crops in this country? Well, 1 is easy, soy. 2 is easy, wheat. And 3 is easy, corn. Those are the top 3 genetically modified foods, and they also happen to be the top 3 most subsidized crops in the country. Subsidized by the federal government. They are subsidized because they are used in all these packaged foods that are going out to the one place you bet you really don't want them going to, and that's our schools. It starts that young. Genetically modified foods. You know, it's all over the place now. And you got to watch even some organics like peel. They have that label on it, PEEL. That's using some sort of preservative, something to genetically modify an organic food. It's tough to do it. It's tough to do, folks. These are all simple things, but they're not easy to implement into your life. You really got to make an effort. The number one toxin in the food industry, glyphosate. And you know who opened my eyes to this? None other than Dr. Tracy Stroup. Glyphosate. This is Roundup, folks, okay? That's what they call it, in the commercial area. But it's sprayed on every food, on every crop that's not 100% USDA agricultural certified as organic. It's sprayed on every crop. And what's worse, with wheat, they spray it right before harvest to get that last growth spurt. And it's saturated with it. And it is destroying our gut. The biggest culprit across the board on a national scale, especially when it comes to wheat, is glyphosate, destroying the mucosa of your gut. That's just the beginning. And it's destroying probiotic activity too. We'll get to that. This is a pet peeve of mine. Fake foods. How can anybody in their right mind put something in their mouth when on the wrapper it says the word artificial? Because you know why they do it? Because it's been deemed as okay. Oh, it's just a little artificial flavor. Oh, it's just a little artificial sugar. Oh, it's just a little artificial preservatives. Some have all three. All three. If the word artificial is on the label, please don't eat it and do not feed it to your kids. And drugs. They're not a food, okay, but they're destroying the mucosa. They're destroying probiotic activity. Every single prescription drug on the market depletes probiotics. Every one. And every one of these drugs, legal drugs, prescribed drugs by your doctor, cannot be processed through your liver. So it's going to affect your liver, and that affects your ability to get rid of toxins. Look at the cascading events that happen just by taking a prescription drug. Yeah, Larry, it shows. That's the punchline. You want to know what the rest of that is? There's this commercial that was running for years for the little purple pill. And their spokesperson was Larry the Cable Guy. And Larry said, all you got to do is take your little purple pill and eat anything you want like I do. And I said, yeah, Larry, it shows. Because have you seen this guy? He's not the picture of health, folks. Okay? Don't do what Larry does. All right. All right, so now we know what the cause and the problem is. It's the food supply. Okay, we use that word loosely. And so how do we fix it? All right, we got to repair. The first thing you do is repair. And some will say, well, shouldn't you start with probiotics right away? No, not if your mucosa is in disrepair. If your mucosa is deteriorated and there are lesions, then whatever you take is going to leak out. And whatever else is out there that's bad is going to get in. We got to repair first. No other healing can take place if the gut is in a deteriorated state. And I got news for you. If you don't address your gut integrity first, and you're taking tons of vitamins, you're wasting your money. You're not going to get maximum benefit because most of it's going to get away from you. It's going to leak out. You know that term, right? Leaky gut. Oh, they love to give names to these things. But actually, that is what it says. So who needs to repair their gut? I'm sorry, but everybody. Everybody walking around out here that's eating in some way, shape, or form any part of the standard American diet. Any part of the standard American diet. Even if you eat healthy once in a while. Even if you cook most of your meals once in a while. You're still eating out on occasion. You're still eating foods you haven't prepared. And you don't know what's in them. And there's going to be chemicals and there's going to be substances that are going to destroy the mucosa. So everybody has to repair first. You can't start a weight loss program until you repair the gut. You won't get maximum benefit. We have physicians, and you've seen them here many times, Dr. Len Bransowitz, many others, that use this process as the foundation of their practice. Every patient they see, they repair the mucosa first before they do anything else. Why? Because they want maximum benefit of the protocol that follows that. So the severe cases, you've seen all of this, right? Irritable bowel syndrome, leaky gut, inflammatory bowel disease, Crohn's and colitis. And what kills me the most is when people own it. My Crohn's, they'll tell you. My colitis, my leaky gut. They own it. You know why they own it? Because their physician tells them that you can do nothing about it except treat it. Can't fix it. Can't cure it. Ooh, don't ever use the C word. No, we can treat it, though. We can treat it. You're going to have this for the rest of your life. We can treat it. Well, they're wrong. They're 100% wrong. It is fixable. And this is a two-way street, like I mentioned earlier. Nutrients will leak out. Bacteria, fungus, invaders will leak in. Okay? That door swings both ways. So the foundation is this formula, GI Complete. GI Complete, folks, is the most powerful mucosa repair formula on the market. How do we know that? Because the results prove it. The results speak for it. There's other formulas out there that have some of these ingredients, but they don't have them to the effect and to the amount that we have in ours. You see, the main ingredient is something called L-glutamine. And this is in powder form, this GI Complete, okay? Because why? Because you don't want to have to break down capsules to repair the gut. Okay, that's counterproductive. So it's in a powder. There's 5 grams of L-glutamine in this. Why? That's what the studies used. You'll see other formulas maybe out there that use 1.5 grams, 3 grams. We use 5 because that's what the studies used. L-glutamine is one of the repair mechanisms in this formula. The other is something called zinc carnosine. Zinc carnosine is a combination of the mineral zinc and the amino acid L-carnosine. L-carnosine has been proven and shown in human trials to help extend the life of our cells, to effectively prevent premature cellular death. Zinc is one of the most healing nutrients there is, whether it's topical, internal. We know that how it stops the replication of viral invaders in the body. But these two combined are the single most powerful healing nutrient on the market. There are countries that use just this ingredient. Japan is one of them, as a frontline defense for peptic ulcers. Zinc carnosine. If it'll heal a peptic ulcer, it will heal your mucosa. So then we added some soothing nutrients in here, slippery elm, marshmallow root, and licorice root, and of course we added, the secret ingredient, DMG, dimethylglycine. Why? Well, your gut and your immune system are tied together. You can't separate them. And DMG is an immune modulator. It also increases oxygen utilization, so it's going to help the uptake of these nutrients into the bloodstream and into your cells. Remember, it's what you assimilate, not what you eat. This formula is used by many of our physicians as the first line defense, the foundation formula. and it should be used by every one of you. First, a full month of it to help repair the mucosa. After that, on an occasion, once a week, a couple times a month, a full week out of a month, just to make sure you're keeping that mucosa in good health, sturdy, formidable, won't let nutrients out, won't let bacteria in. Comes in 2 great flavors too. Now, step 2, once we've repaired the gut, once we've repaired the mucosa, let's get those probiotics back in. Because almost everything we consume in this day and age, folks, is causing probiotic depletion. How? Well, it's in the food supply. Animals are injected with antibiotics. Cows, chickens, turkeys, pigs, you name it. Okay? They're injected with antibiotics. There's even some seafoods out there now that are showing antibiotics in them. Seafoods. Shrimp's one of the biggest culprits. Your shrimp better say wild caught. If it's not, and you got to read deep sometimes to find out, then it's going to have antibiotics in it as well as other toxins. Every protein you eat needs to be either grass-fed, pastured, or wild-caught to avoid probiotics. To avoid antibiotics in the foods. And, of course, there's antibiotic therapy, right? That's still widespread. So you're getting it either from your doctor or from your food supplier. Gee, isn't that wonderful? Drugs. All prescription drugs, as I said earlier, okay, will do damage. Damage your liver. They will deplete probiotics. They will deplete magnesium. They will deplete CoQ10 and B vitamins. Every single drug will do that because the drug's a chemical and your liver can't process it. So when that happens, all of these things suffer. All drugs, including birth control, because I've had women say to me, I don't take any drugs. Hey, Jimmy. But I say to you, are you on birth control? They go, well, yeah. Well, that's a drug, and it depletes probiotics. So how do we replenish those probiotics? Well, first of all, everyone needs them, okay? Everyone. No one else. There's not a person on this planet that doesn't need it, especially in this country. And here's the positive side effect. Probiotics will improve not just your gut health, but will fortify your immune system. Because there's a battle going on all the time in your gut. There's a battle, there's a colonization battle between bad bacteria and good bacteria. You've got to win the battle. The probiotics have got to win that colonization. There's always going to be some bad bacteria, okay? Sometimes you need it. So there's always going to be both. But you can't allow the bad bacteria to overcome the good bacteria. So probiotic supplementation is essential. Earlier today, Jamie talked about Probzyme. There's nothing like it, folks. Absolutely nothing like it. It's the easiest one to take. You can take it all day, several times a day. It's just the easiest way to get your probiotics and to get something else that we'll talk about in a minute. But you've got to have them. We make it easy. We've got one for every member of the family. Frontier Biotics is in a capsule. Okay, this is our baseline probiotic. Okay, you're going to get about 6 billion colony-forming units in this, 10 total forms of beneficial bacteria, multiple forms of both. This is important, Lactobacillus and Bifidobacterium. Now, why is that important? Because those are the 2 probiotic activities that you get when you're born. When a child is born, when a baby is born and goes through the birth canal, it gets the Lactobacillus probiotic activity. When that child is nursed through the breast milk, it gets the Bifidobacterium. Those are the 2 colony-forming bacteria that you need for your gut and your immune system. Now, let me ask you a question. What do you think happens when a baby is born cesarean and does not go through the birth canal and is not nursed and is eating formula its whole early life. Well, guess what? It got neither one of those. And things will happen. If you add vaccines on top of it, shots, all those things, the gut is going to get destroyed. Have you ever heard of the word colic? What do you think causes colic? Lack of probiotic activity in the gut. There was an entire study done on this by an Italian health firm about 10, 15 years ago. What they wanted, and actually it was a reverse engineered study. They wanted to know what caused colic. And as they drilled deeper and deeper and deeper, they found that the babies with colic were the ones that were born cesarean and not nursed. Both or one of the two. It's that important. Then we have one called superbiotics. Now, superbiotics, 12 species, 50 billion CFUs, colony-forming units, per capsule. When is this one used? This one is used in severe gut trauma issues or once you come off of any antibiotic therapy. And then Probzyme, my favorite. Probzyme was the flagship formula for Nutritional Frontiers, folks. First formula, first product, still one of the best. It's been improved. We have 3 flavors now. It only came out in one. It's a chewable tablet, 3 delicious flavors, but we improved it. How? Well, we used patented research trademarked ingredients. Lactospore is the strain of spore-forming Bacillus coagulans that are in Probzyme. Why is that important? It's a soil-based probiotic. It's the original nature's probiotic, other than from their mother, than from the breast milk or the vaginal canal. The one from the source, the one from the ground that should be in our foods. And because it is soil-based, it's shelf-stable. Never needs refrigerated. Lactospore is in every probiotic, every flavor. And it's going to help with so many of the things we talked about. The ABCs, acid reflux, bloating, constipation, and diarrhea. Nobody better hit me with a pie, I'm telling you that right now. All of the things, the ABCs, can be affected by, in a good way, by Probzyme. You know, why is that? Well, it's because you're chewing it. It's getting into your bloodstream immediately. It's coating your upper GI, where the bloating is going to come from, where the acid reflux is going to come from. You should be chewing one with every meal, minimum. And I'm telling you, folks, there's one of the things I discovered about Probzyme over the last year or so, just recently, that it's the best thing to do before bed. Chew 1 or 2 Probzyme before bed. You know, a lot of people have sleep issues because of digestion issues. Once you clear that up, and not only that, that good bacteria that you chew, you should let it settle in your mouth a little bit. It's great for your gums, great for your teeth, oral health. It's just nothing like Probzyme for every member of the family. You got kids that are eating school lunches, you better pack Probzyme with them. And you know what? Probzyme comes in a travel size too, okay? In a travel size. That's perfect to give to your kids to take to school with them when they're eating those crap lunches. Now, not only does Probzyme have probiotics, it's got a full enzyme blend. Remember early on in this talk, I talked about the secret weapon that you need for your gut health. Well, that's digestive enzymes. Probzyme combines both probiotics and digestive enzymes, one chewable tablet. And not only that, but it also includes now, one of the renovations made is Optizyme. And this is a digestive enzyme that helps process and assimilate, digest gluten. The big word. Everybody's worried about gluten. Well, yeah, gluten can be bad, especially when it's coming from a Franken wheat, okay? Genetically modified wheat. That's the problem. But anyway, we can help with that. Gluten sensitivity with this digestive enzyme. It's in Probezyme, folks. This makes Probezyme just a grand slam. There's nothing better. Okay, now let's talk a little bit more about enzymes. Proper nutrient assimilation is so important. Digestive enzymes, they're secreted by your body all the way through the digestive tract, starting in the mouth. Digestion starts in the mouth. In fact, some gut experts will tell you that digestion starts in the nose. Okay? When you smell your favorite food, you get that feeling of, oh, I want that. You get the saliva forming in your mouth because you want it. You can't wait to eat it. Well, that's enzymes being produced by your body. And when you chew your food, you're producing enzymes. And it goes all the way down through the digestive tract. But guess what? You don't have an endless supply. And as I said, chewing food produces most of your enzymes. Well, it also is the cause of one of the most devastating enzyme depletion activities that we have in this country. And that's chewing something that's not food, which is, Phil? Gum. Thank you. Kevin was on the ball up there. Chewing gum depletes enzymes. People do it for hours on end. Sometimes they do it in place of food. Then you're not assimilating nutrients. Everybody needs digestive enzymes. Chemicals deplete enzymes. Fake foods deplete enzymes. Processed preserved foods, because they have no enzymatic activity, will deplete your enzymes. If you're not eating fruits and vegetables in their natural form, you're depleting your enzymes. Geriatric community, just like a lot of things, enzymes you produce less and less of them as you age, like CoQ10, like other nutrients, like DMG. You produce less and less as you age. If you have problems with your teeth and you can't chew properly, there's no enzyme secretion going on. Stress will deplete your enzymes. Any overuse of any antacid purple pill on the market, including Tums, will deplete your enzymes. And if you're eating the standard American diet that includes tons of fried foods, baked at high temperatures, just being processed and preserved over periods of time, the standard American diet, well, your enzymes have been suffering an onslaught. Everyone needs digestive enzymes. So we provide you with options. Other than Probezyme, there's Cybezyme. Now, that's our full spectrum enzyme, folks. It has the most digestive enzymes of any of our products. 7 enzymes, along with some probiotics, along with spirulina, a superfood, along with the dulse and trace minerals. The dulse is from algae, right? That's life forming from the ocean. Trace minerals. It's our most complete digestive enzyme. Plus, it has also the gluten sensitivity enzyme in it in the form of DPP4. But there's also another great positive side effect, you might call it, or another use for Cybezyme, and that's as a proteolytic enzyme. What does that mean? Well, proteolytic means to promote life and to help repair. When you have an injured area, sometimes your body, it'll shoot proteins to that area to heal it. And what happens is if we aggravate it and never let it heal properly, that process never shuts off. So the proteolytic enzymes will shut that process off and accelerate healing. Enzymes are life, folks. So you have all your basic enzymes in here. You have lipase for fat. You have protease for protein. You have lactase for lactose, right? Milk products. Amylase for carbohydrates. Cellulase for fiber. All right? Dulse is that edible algae, high in vitamins, especially 6 and 12, B6 and B12. Spirulina from algae. And we also have something in there called invertase. This helps you to break down sugar. Do you think we have an onslaught of sugar in our diets in this country? Cybezyme should be your number one full spectrum enzyme. But then, if you have an issue with your gallbladder, if you have an issue with assimilating fats and fat-soluble nutrients, we can help you there too. That's called Betazyme. Anybody that has had their gallbladder removed must be on Betazyme on a daily basis. And of course, your doctor probably took out your gallbladder, didn't tell you that. Didn't tell you that you wouldn't be able to properly process fat anymore. Probably didn't tell you that. And if you can't process fat, you can't process fat-soluble nutrients like vitamin D, like vitamin A, like vitamin E, like omega-3 fatty acids. Or if you just have a problem with acid production. Now, one of the biggest falsehoods in our industry, maybe not our industry, but in the medical industry, is that if you have acid indigestion, you're producing too much acid. Well, that's completely wrong and backwards. It's usually that you're not producing enough. And that's why you're getting the problem. So in Betazyme, you have something called betaine hydrochloride. This will help your body produce hydrochloric acid. That's one of the biggest misconceptions. You know, people say, do you have something with hydrochloric acid? No, because it would burn the hell out of your throat if you took it. You can't do that. You have to help your body. You got to stimulate your body's ability to produce this acid, not take it as a supplement. And that's what we have in Betazyme. So if you know anybody that has had their gallbladder removed, give them this information. They have to be on it because it has something in it called ox bile. And ox bile will help process the bile that your liver produces so that you can assimilate and absorb fat and fat-soluble nutrients. It'll do what your gallbladder used to do. I think I covered all that on there. So there you go, folks. How do you take care of the ABCs? That's the most important thing. Whether you have acid indigestion, bloating, constipation, or diarrhea, there's a cause. Take care of the cause, which is the food supply and the drugs you take and the stress in your life. And then repair, replenish, and assimilate. And you'll rid yourself of these problems because you're doing it the right way. Find the cause, eliminate it, then repair. Every single one of those conditions and every single one of those extreme conditions, leaky gut, IBS, IBD, Crohn's, colitis, is fixable. It's fixable with the right protocol. The gut is not only how you get your nutrients, but how you protect your immune system. So that's it for today. The ABCs of gut health. Hope you enjoyed it. It'll be available on the Nutritional Frontiers Facebook page, the World of Wellness Facebook page. And we'll be on YouTube as well, Phil, on both YouTube channels as well. So we're still here till Saturday, folks. Come on down and see us. We'd love to see you. Wish you Merry Christmas. And we got some prizes and some giveaways and some good things and some stocking stuffers like Probezyme in the 8 count. Come on down. We'd love to see you. Till then, Merry Christmas.